Hi, this is Abby with Happy Little Mystic, and welcome back to our free self-paced tarot course. In today's lesson, we'll be talking all about card number 11, Justice. And if you miss any of our previous lessons in the tarot deck, you can check out the playlist link in the description box below. If you're following along with our tarot workbook, in the Major Arcana section, you will find a place to write all of the information to fully understand the Justice card. So let's go ahead and talk about the imagery of the Justice card to begin with. In the center here, we'll find that we have this regal, gender-neutral figure. And in this case, I like how the image of the person could be depicted as male or female. Our figure is sitting in the upright position on a stone throne, and this embodies authority, very similar to some of the other cards we've seen previously in the deck. That of the High Priestess, the Emperor, and the Hierophant. We'll notice that the red robe is present again, and this symbolizes passion, power, and the will to act justly. Our figure has a gold crown on top of their head, and if you look closely, you'll see a small square in the center of the crown. This is representing well-formed thoughts. The sword here in the right hand of the figure is a double-edged sword, and it's symbolizing action and logic. The sword is in an upright position, and this is signifying clarity, truth, and the power to cut through illusions or deceit. It's also representing the idea that justice can be swift and final. We'll notice here in the figure's left hand, they're holding a set of scales. And being in the left hand, that is associated with intuition and inner understanding. The scales are balanced, and they're made of gold, if we look closely. So the scales are reflecting equity, balance, and the weighing of actions and consequences. The figure's sitting on a stone throne and is also surrounded by stone pillars. So these two gray pillars are similar to those of the High Priestess, suggesting duality, balance, and moral structure. The gray color is representing neutrality and objectivity. I also like how the Justice card has the veil that is hung between the two pillars. Again, very similar to that of the High Priestess. In this case, the veil is this purplish color, and it's partially concealing the background. So purple is often linked to spiritual wisdom, and the veil is suggesting that deeper truths may be hidden behind appearances. We'll also notice this yellow background poking through, and we've seen that in quite a few of our other cards so far in the deck. And our Lovers, the Chariot, Magician, as well as our Fool. And this bright yellow is symbolizing clarity, consciousness, and enlightenment. If we look closely at the figure's expression, we'll see that the face is stern but calm. It's showing no bias or emotion, and it's reinforcing the idea of discernment and being impartial. So skipping ahead to our Zodiac signs section in the tarot workbook, the Justice card is tied to the sign of Libra, and Libra is associated with the scales that we see here in the Justice card. So the scales and Libra represent the weighing of truth, ethical judgment, and measured decision-making. Libra is also an air sign, and that's all about intellect and communication. So the Justice card also reflects mental clarity, truth-seeking, and rational judgment, all those core traits of the air element. Libra is ruled by the planet of Venus, which is associated with love and relationships, but it's also connected to harmony and fairness, and those are key themes to justice. So if you've asked a yes or no question in a reading and the Justice card shows up, the answer is yes, but only if it's fair and deserved. So a positive outcome if you've acted with integrity, or justice will be served, the truth will come to light. It may also suggest that you may need to take responsibility or face consequences, but the outcome will be just. The key words for the Justice card in the upright position are truth, fairness, balance, accountability, and integrity. So acting honestly and being true to your values. If the Justice card shows up in the upright position, it could also be indicating legal issues or involvement in contracts, court cases, or official matters. The Justice card can also indicate that you need to look at a situation with logic, with a non-biased point of view. So the general meaning of this card, if it shows up in a reading, is inviting you to reflect on how your actions align with your principles and whether you're being fair to others and to yourself. It encourages us to be mindful of what is just and honest. It's a reminder to take that responsibility and be accountable for your actions. So if the Justice card shows up in a career or finance reading, it's indicating that you may be recognized or rewarded based on your merit or effort. There'll be fair treatment at work. You're being called to act with integrity or honesty. It could also indicate possible dealings with contracts, agreements, or even legal matters in your career. So read everything carefully if the Justice card shows up. This card could also indicate that your past actions, whether good or bad, are coming full circle. You're either being rewarded or held accountable. Also, if the Justice card does show up in a career or finance reading, it could indicate that you need to seek balance. Perhaps you're overworking or you're underappreciated, so a change or correction may be on the horizon for you. If the Justice card shows up during a love or romance reading, it serves as a reminder that a relationship needs to be built on clear communication and truth. There needs to be honesty and transparency in a relationship. It indicates fairness and mutual respect, so both partners are contributing equally, and that balance is key. The Justice card reminds us to take responsibility for our role in our relationship. The Justice card could sometimes point to marriage or legal unions, or perhaps resolving issues fairly in divorce negotiations handled with respect. In the other section in the notebook, I've noted that when the Justice card shows up, the advice is to be honest with yourself and others. Speak your truth and don't hide from uncomfortable realities. Own your actions, so take full responsibility for the choices you've made, even if they've led to unintended consequences. The Justice card reminds us to make decisions based on facts, not emotions. Stay objective and weigh all sides before acting. And it also tells us to stand up for what's right. So if something feels unjust, whether in relationships or work or inner life, act in alignment with your values. Moving on to our numerology section, the Justice card is card number 11. And 11 in numerology is considered a master number, which means it carries a higher spiritual vibration than other numbers. It's often associated with intuition and spiritual insight. So if you have the number 11, you would not break it down to the number 2. You wouldn't add the 1 and the 1. You would let it be as its master number. So the core meaning of the number 11, we have spiritual awareness, a deep connection to the unseen, inner knowing, and higher consciousness. 11 also stands for intuition. When you have a strong gut feeling and psychic sensitivity, you have a natural inner guidance system, illumination, vision, and inspiration. So the number 11 is all about innovative thinking and the ability to inspire and uplift others. I've also noted that number 11 goes along with duality. So this blend of masculine and feminine. So the first one is masculine, the second one is feminine. Energies coming together and finding that balance between logic and intuition, which goes right along with the Justice card. So if the Justice card shows up in reverse and you're choosing to read reversals, the keywords are injustice, dishonesty, lack of accountability. Perhaps there's unfair treatment. You could also be avoiding consequences if the Justice card shows up. There could be legal complications in your life, an imbalance, perhaps a denial of truth, or blame shifting that's happening. So the advice for the Justice card when it shows up in reverse is to face the truth. Avoiding reality or denying your role in a situation will only create more imbalance, and you need to look honestly at your part in whatever's happening. The Justice card in reverse is a reminder that we need to look within and take responsibility instead of pointing fingers. So even if others are at fault too, this card is telling us to focus on what we can control. It's an important reminder to restore balance when the Justice card is in reverse. So something is out of alignment, emotionally, ethically, or practically. So you just need to ask, what is it that needs to be corrected? This card in reverse could also indicate that you need to watch for deception. So be cautious of lies, manipulation, or half-truths, whether coming from you or others. It's a reminder to act with integrity, even when others don't. So don't let the unfair treatment pull you down to someone else's level. The Justice card showing in reverse could also indicate that you need to seek clarity. There may be misunderstandings or misjudgments, so you need to get all the facts before making decisions or accusations. A good reflection question, if the Justice card shows up in reverse, is to ask yourself, where in my life am I resisting accountability or avoiding the truth? And what would change if I faced it head on? So the bottom line is the Justice reverse is this call to course correct. This card is asking you to realign with your integrity and seek balance within and without. In our connections to other cards section, we want to note a few different connections to the cards we've gone over so far. The first would be the Fool. If we remember back to the first lesson about the Fool's journey, the Justice card taught the Fool how to take responsibility for his life. He was asked to look at the truth and find the fairness and take accountability. The Justice card and the High Priestess, they actually have quite a bit in common. They both share that same theme of truth and intuition. So where the High Priestess represents inner truth and hidden knowledge, Justice symbolizes objective truth and outward fairness. And together they ask, what do you know deep within, and how do you act on that in the world? Justice is also connected to the Emperor. Both of these cards share the theme of law, structure, and authority. And you can even see the similar stance in their throne. So the Emperor governs with logic and leadership, and then Justice ensures laws are fairly applied. Both deal with societal structure, but Justice checks whether power is being used ethically. Justice and the Lovers are also connected. They both are about choice and moral decisions. So together they speak to conscious commitment and consequences. The Justice card also goes right along with our Chariot, and they share the theme of control and willpower. So the Chariot shows forward momentum, where Justice asks whether you're moving in alignment with your values and reminds us that success without integrity leads to imbalance. And then finally, we have the Wheel of Fortune. And both of these cards share the idea of karma and fate. So the Wheel of Fortune brings unexpected changes, while Justice reminds us that our past actions shape our future outcomes. So both represent that cosmic law, but Justice adds the accountability. Moving on to our personal insights and reflection section, there are a few things I wanted to note. Quite often, Justice is misunderstood as a harsh card, but it's more about bringing things into balance. So it's not about punishment, it's about alignment. And it's asking us to reflect on whether or not our actions are aligned with our truth and our values. Another thing worth noting is that Justice is neutral. So it doesn't take sides. This card isn't emotional. It weighs all sides objectively. It seeks fairness rather than personal satisfaction. It can be considered a mirror, that what you've put out is what you will receive. I also listed in this section that Justice is the moral compass of the Major Arcana. So Justice represents inner ethics and external consequences. So now I'd like to take some time to compare the Rider-Waite-Smith Justice card to some other cards in different tarot decks. The first one is the Wild Reflections Tarot deck. And I love this card. In this card, the Justice figure is represented by a woman who is holding the scales here that are made from lanterns. She does have the sword. She looks like she may be dressed in like warrior clothing, prepared to fight if needed or protect. And she's holding these lanterns similar to that of the Justice scale here in the Rider-Waite-Smith. It's very balanced. For these next two decks by Radley Valentine, we have the Guardian Angels Messages Tarot. In this deck, he's depicted the Justice card as card number 8. And we discussed this in the Strength video, that Strength is the card number 8 in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck now. However, before, in the original deck of the Rider-Waite-Smith, Strength was considered card number 11. And they made this switch in the early 1900s to align better with the zodiac signs. So now Justice is card number 11 in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck to go along with the zodiac sign of Libra. And the Strength card is now number 8 to go along with the zodiac sign of the Leo the lion. So in this deck, we have Justice represented by another, almost like a warrior here. And I love that she has the sword in the upright position, very similar to that of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. She has her scales here, her golden scales, representing balance. She doesn't have a crown necessarily, but she does have the third eye represented here by a light, very similar to the square stone in the crown of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, depicting that knowledge and logical thinking. The words here we have are fairness, the law, and karma. In our last deck by Radley Valentine, we have our Angel Tarot cards. So again, he has Justice listed as card number 8. And his justice in this deck is represented by Archangel Raguel. And it says, fair and just decisions. Do what you know is right. Stand up for your beliefs. And I love here how they kept the pillars on the side. We have our scale here, balanced. And then the sword is present as well. Okay, so that's what I have for Justice today. In our next lesson, we'll be learning all about card number 12, the Hanged Man. All right, and that's all I have for today. Thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next one.